bringing the body down, touching the body, grounding the body. Aftercare is the period of time after a scene in which a partner or partner attend to one another's physical, emotional, or psychological needs. It should be focused on grounding, so bringing somebody from that subspace, high feeling, on top of the world state to bringing them back to neutrality and bringing them back to grounded state. And special attention should be paid to bottoms, receivers, and submissives. So what is subspace? We hear this term thrown around all the time in kink and BDSM. So it's broken down into three parts. The first part is the fight or flight response. The fight or flight response is when a part of our brain called the amygdala gets a signal that we are in potential danger. And what happens is our body releases adrenaline. And that adrenaline is, our motor in whether or not we're going to fight or flight. So in kink and BDSM, we have the opportunity to turn our amygdala on in a safe and controlled environment. The second thing is an altered state of consciousness that we enter when we are in subspace. So this is when the focused thinking part of our brain gets a rest. And the prefrontal cortex is associated with working memory, sustained directed attention, and ability to communicate with other parts of our brains. So all of that takes a back seat when we enter transient hypofrontality. And this state of consciousness is not just known to subspace and kink. This state of consciousness is associated most popularly with something called a runner's high, but it's often also associated with meditation states and deep dream states, and also states that we enter when we do psychoactive drugs. And all of the things, or a lot of the things that are potentially cause us stress or we're worried about socially, kind of falls away. We're not so worried about that stuff anymore. We're focused on our feelings and the sensations that are happening in our bodies. Cortisol gets released into the body, and when that happens, we experience a decrease in sensitivity to pain, and we also experience a shutdown of functions that aren't necessary for this time. So this decrease in sensitivity to pain, if any of y'all have engaged in kink, you might have experienced this, being able to take more pain with impact implements, with whips, with harder paddles, and possibly even participating in rougher, more rigorous sex that you might not have if you weren't in a kink space or in a submissive position. So again, what is subspace? Subspace is an increase in cortisol, an increase in adrenaline, and transient hypofrontality. So all of these things are happening in our brains when we enter subspace. When we come out of this space, we're going to have a very different reaction and a very different experience. And this is called subdrop. Subdrop is the coming down from all of these, hormones and neurotransmitters being released. And what's happening is we're still processing the neurotransmitters faster than they can be produced, which causes a come down. We're coming down from these high feelings that we're having. And this come down can take hours, anywhere from hours to days. So it's really important to be aware of that. Very important is properly attending to all wounds and marks and getting food or water. So properly attending to all wounds and marks, this is important with any sort of potential like burns from wax play, cuts from blood or needle play, impact play might cause bleeding or scarring and might require ice or bandages. Attending to all wounds should be the first thing you do as far as aftercare. Food and water, very important. There's a lot of fluids being secreted from the body during kink and BDSM. So staying hydrated, keeping sustenance available is important to avoid any potential like fainting or dizzy spells or anything like that. And some other things, kissing and touching, massages, anything that involves like bringing the body down, touching the body, grounding the body. A great way to do that is to just touch and feel and be in the moment with the body and in the space. Mental and emotional aftercare and self-care. So words of affirmation, right? telling your submissive that they did a great job with the scene, that they handled everything well. Another potential thing could be discussing likes and dislikes about what everyone liked with the scene, what everyone didn't like with the scene, and discussing and moving through that together. And also discussing things that are non-kink or BDSM related, right? Just discussing things like what maybe somebody might eat after this, or what someone's doing tomorrow, or likes and dislikes other than BDSM can be very grounding, because we are taking our brains out of kink and BDSM land and we're putting them somewhere else.